Boys and girls of SEA's 7th and 8th grade science class. He may not have a hair on his head, but he has a plan. A lesson plan. Mr. C.
Happy Tuesday to you all. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. I assume you're working with your do-nows right now and have some white sheets or a white sheet out as well. And I don't know if I put that up Saturday when I was in the room, just white sheets out. But you need a white sheet today. It should be really good. So I want to tell you why I have on my New South Wales Blues gear. This was the kind of rugby jersey that I wore to the championship game that I've told you about before. That was so exciting, and I'm going to try to see if I can't show you a little clip of the last minute or two of that rugby match, which was so exciting. So I'll see what I can do coming maybe next week, coming up with a little clip. I think you'd like seeing a little bit of rugby league, and just to see how, since I keep blah 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 about how awesome that rugby match was, I'll let you see a little bit for yourself. So anyway, got allergies going today, so maybe you do as well. So anyway, I've got all this gear on, and I wanted to show you this. Let's see if I can show it to you. So I'll move in close so you can see this. NSW stands for New South Wales. That's the Australian state that Sydney is in. And they ended up playing Queensland State. It was like an all-star game between the best rugby league players from Queensland and the best from New South Wales. And New South Wales won right at the end, and it was a very close match all the way along. So anyway, I'm still celebrating that I got to go, but I'm actually celebrating that my grandson Bray scored a try, 4 points, kind of like a touchdown. He scored a try in their win in their match yesterday, so now they're in the semifinals against Blacktown next week. So anyway, I talked to Bray yesterday, and I hope to have a photo for you so you can see Bray. So he's in 5th grade, but he's probably the tallest 5th grade boy, and for a 5th grader, he's pretty muscular. It's getting to where I can't wrestle with him very well now. He'll worried about breaking something, which we wouldn't want that. Okay, move on, Mr. C, move on. I referred yesterday to the new plant species that I found that pretty much is indestructible, that I have now in the back of the room, and I told you that I had 2 of those philodendron plants maybe 3 years ago or something, and I had named them Phil and Chlora, but I forgot to tell you why Phil and Chlora. Reverse the 2 names. Oh, chlorophyll. So pretty cool, huh? But anyway, the plant is a philodendron that I used to have. And remember, I threw out that if you look up philodendron and maybe turn in a picture of one with your name on it, I'll give you some points. It's an option. I like to throw out options like that. And on the island of Kauai that we used to visit, the philodendrons, I'm not exaggerating, were about this big. Well, maybe this big. They were massive. So they had a lot of water supply. So anyway, itchy eye. So anyway, if you looked up philodendrons on Kauai, Kauai, you might see how cool those were. Well, anyway, move it along, Mr. C. I have good news and bad news for you today. I'm sure you want the good news first. The good news is that the science videos that we've had these first 2 weeks, and now these first two of the third week, they are now up on YouTube. And anybody, I mean, you can pull them up. If you miss one or you want to review something in them, you can pull them up. Or if you miss class, you're sick, or for some reason you're absent, injury or something, and then you need to look at them, they're available on YouTube. All you have to do in the search window on YouTube is put in Mr. C's 7th, 8th grade science videos or science classes. They should come up. Now 1 through 10 were just uploaded, but they were all uploaded at the same time, so they're random as far as the numbers. So you'll have to know what date it is that you're looking for if it's one of the first 10. So, and then now they'll be posted every day. So anyway, so good news, huh? I mean, if you're interested. So if you want to see them or need to go back and review. Here's a little bit of bad news. Not a lot. It doesn't apply to most of you. But a few of my students haven't turned in some science work, some science assignments. That's not good. So now the good news is, the bad news is you didn't turn them in. The good news is you get partial credit. So, and by the way, I don't allow you not to turn in work. That's illegal. You can't do that. So I'm not going to let you sit there and go, well, I didn't turn it in, I don't care. I'll be looking for you, and you will be encouraged. I have various tools. You'll be encouraged to get those in, and you will get those in. So one way or another. One way is you have to come in at lunch and work on them, or advisory and work on them till you catch them up. I'm just saying. So you don't want to have the mindset, I don't care, I'm not going to, with some of the work, I'm not going to turn it in. Well, you'll turn it in. You're going to have to do it, on your own time and lose free time and stuff. Or, get going at home on it. So anyway, I'm not going to wait too much longer before I'm going to find you. So, and go, haven't turned this in yet. Let's get rolling. And, eventually, too, one of my tools is, hello, Mr. or Mrs., insert your last name. You get it. So, hey, I don't want to have to use those tools, those means. So just turn your work in on time. That's why I'm really big on OTAs. So, got to turn them in. Now, here's a little secret. Don't tell it. It's a secret. Okay? Little secret. I allow one small to medium assignment a quarter to not come in. Just one. I call it a freebie. FB, freebie. It's a freebie. Does it cost me? No. Take any points off? No. Just an NS, no score. Doesn't affect your grade. So just one, however. Now, a little word of advice. I wouldn't burn it up right away. I'd save it for when you might be sick, or you have an absence, or you're like super busy that week. I'd save it for an opportune time like that. So anyway, just one. You can't use the freebie on quizzes and tests. Can't use it on Q's and T's. So anyway, a little bit of good news there at the end of that. So what do you got next for us, Mr. C? Well, you've got your white sheet, right? So, and here's what I've got for you. These are possible test questions on Friday's test. Possible. Do I hear a little scurrying around there, journal coming out, and good idea. Good idea. So these possible test questions, you might want to make little notes in your journal or put a little star by it or highlight, whatever you want to do to alert yourself, hey, this could be on the test on Friday. Some of them were on last week's test. That's the way I do things. It's on one test. I bring the key ideas forward to the next test. I'm into triple R'ing. So anyway, so this could be there. Here's the first one. So we're not writing answers down right now. It's not like a practice quiz. 2 reasons that we're going to get cooler. So what are they? So you might probably have that and these other ones in your journal. The Earth's tilt is one of them, and then because of the Earth's revolution around the sun, our sunrise sunset times change, seasons, and we either get less and less, like is happening now, less and less heating by the sun because it's not up as long, or more and more and more, like in the summer that we're just coming out of. By the way, down in Australia, it's the reverse. Yesterday, they had a wonderfully warm day. It's starting to warm up. Down in Australia, they're about ready to have their first day of spring down in Australia. At the same time, we have our first day of fall because seasons are reversed. So anyway, second question, scientific study of the weather. What is it called? Meteorology could show up. Here's another one. 2 tools that revolutionized weather forecasting and prediction. And you saw photos of these yesterday, I am fairly certain. So what were the 2 things that made predicting the weather a lot easier? It's still a difficult job, still really tough, but satellite photos, so weather satellites, and then radar. So you can see where the rain is and how it's moving. So, by the way, the radar, what it does is it bounces invisible radiation, invisible waves off the raindrops. If there's no raindrops, you don't get any bounce back, and then you don't get any of that color showing rain. But if there are raindrops coming down, the radar wave hits the raindrops, and then they come back. If there's more raindrops, it corresponds to a different color. So anyway, so satellite photos, radar, those are biggies. So in your head, just see if you can say really quick, use hand motions too, it would help. Laura says that. 4 kinds of clouds: cumulus, cirrus, and then stratus and cumulonimbus. We've had some cumulonimbus around. So anyway, 4 kinds of clouds. Next one is, what's the biggest storage lake? What's it called? The biggest storage lake, and it's Roosevelt Lake. What are the man-made rivers crisscrossing the valley that lake water is transported around the valley in? What are they called? They are called canals. So you probably know that and got that. And then what kind of precipitation is it that causes our lakes to fill up in the spring due to runoff? Snow. And then what event, or what do you call an event that occurs over and over and over and over? That would be a cycle. So next, what's saving water called, or saving anything for that matter? What do you call that? That would be conserve or conservation. Conservation. 2 things you can do to save water. A couple of things. Quick showers. Water on, water off. Don't let it run. And then be a drip policeman. You see a drip, turn off the faucet. That really helps. And then John 1:3 definitely will be on there. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being by Him, and without Him, nothing came into being that has come into being. You'll write that. You'll write the meaning of that. What does it mean? The words Jesus, he was with the Father from eternity past. He's eternal. He made everything. Genesis 1:26 now, then God said, let us, the Trinity, make man in our image, in our likeness. The us is the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And then the stunner is that God wanted to share, in a way, in smaller ways, his likeness with us. Does that really let you know how valuable you are and I am to God? Oh, big time. So what a cool thing. And that we have a great purpose. Since God has bestowed on us his likeness, his image, our job is to bear his image, share his image and what it's done in our life, how it's affected us. So all the cool things he's done for us. So anyway, what a wonderful privilege to get to share his likeness. Now I'm going to give you 4 likenesses today and then 4 additional ones tomorrow. I think I gave you 2 maybe. Okay? So way more intelligent. The capability of reasoning, very different from animals. So just reasoning capability, way more intelligent. So God designed animals as well, but we're very different from them. They're not made in his image. So we are. We're eternal. So there's another aspect of sharing his image. He gave us creativity in so many different areas. And then he gave us a soul and spirit, an invisible part of us, our soul and spirit, the real us, our soul and spirit. And when we go to heaven, our body remains here. It's not eternal. Our soul and spirit is. And we're going to get a brand new heavenly body to go with our soul and spirit down the road. So, and the point of that soul and spirit, to commune with God, have fellowship with God. So, which is pretty cool. I'll give you 4 more of those tomorrow. To recap, reasoning ability, way more intelligent. Eternal, so eternity past to eternity future, never ending. Future, pretty awesome, in heaven. Creativity, and then an invisible us, the real us, a soul and spirit. Evolutionists say that we just have a body. Oh, baby, they are so wrong. So we have an eternal soul and spirit, the real us. Okay, SSRs tomorrow. So you'll want 10 of those. And just a couple of things from the 2 passages where I get the idea of the SSRs. Remember, it stands for Stop and Smell the Roses. And my meaning behind it is God blesses us every day with many neat experiences. He wants us to enjoy them. I'll prove it to you in just a minute. Listen to this from 1 Timothy 4, one of my favorites. Yep, it's highlighted. Here it is. So it says this: everything created by God is good. If God created it, it's good. Nothing is to be rejected by us. If it's received with, and this is critical, this enhances SSRs that he gives us. If it's received with, you might guess what it says. What would really make experiences that God gives us extra special? You guessed it, Chester. Gratitude. If it's received with gratitude. And then it says it's sanctified by means of the Word of God and prayer. So it's sanctified, and the idea of set apart, kind of made special. SSRs are like special experiences from God for us. Sometimes they're just customized where you know and I know that none of them are accidents, but some of them are extra special, and you go, Lord, you planned that just for me today, didn't you? I needed that. So thank you for that. So look what it says. It's made special by God's Word, just knowing what God's Word teaches about it, and by prayer. I used to tell my girls, look, the way that you get the most out of an SSR is you anticipate it ahead of time. You thank God for it as you're experiencing it, and then you remember it afterwards, just how wonderful it was. What a cool thing it was. So, and then here's 1 Timothy 6. That was 1 Timothy 4. This is 1 Timothy 6. Here it is. And this is part of it. You can go back and read it all. It's 6:17. And it says, it talks about God who does something. He richly, I love this, He richly supplies us, gives us, all things to, and here's that verb I was telling you about, right there. There it is, right there. I know you can't see the print, but trust me, it's there. To enjoy. So that's 1 Timothy 6:17. God richly supplies us with all things to enjoy. You want to get more out of life? Just as you and I start thanking God more and more for what He gives us, oh, we are going to enjoy life to the max. I'm just saying, try it. Try it. So, little strategy, little thing that you can do. Anyway, cool stuff, SSRs, so that's why I have you do them. And I'll look forward to reading your SSRs. So remember, they're due tomorrow. Neat, complete. Make them neat. And don't give me skinny SSRs, like 2-3 words. That'll be like 0.75 on each one. Those of you who know math, what's 10 times 0.75? Let's see, I want to get a 10 out of 10. I think that would be a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's not what you want. So don't give me skinny ones. Give me detail. Okay? Now, I have just enough time. I told you last week or the week before I wanted to spend a little time on germs. There's 2 major kinds of germs. There are other kinds of germs too. I was just reading about some that I didn't even know about today. So were you Googling? Yes. Yeah. Do you Google a lot? Yes, I do. So 2 major kinds of germs. They're both microscopic, but one is really small compared to the other. One's like 10 to 100 times smaller than the other one. The bigger one is bacteria. Now they're cells, they're living cells. It's a basic cell, similar to cells in our body as far as the parts. Okay? A lot of bacteria are harmless. Some help us. We have a number of bacteria in our intestines that help us digest food, and do a number of other good things for us. Some of them cause diseases. It's true. So, like pneumonia, for instance, one that pops into my head. So, now, the smaller kind of germ is a virus. Okay? Virus. And a virus, and then I was going to spend a little camp on coronavirus for a little bit. So I was going to spend time on it. Viruses have to be, first, a bacteria has to be magnified about 40 times. Viruses 10 to 100 times more. I mean, they're really tiny. So viruses, most of them can cause different kinds of diseases for different living things, different organisms. Now, viruses aren't a cell. They need a living cell to get into, and then they have their RNA or DNA. They have their genetic material, and they use it on the cell's machinery to start reproducing themselves inside that living thing or that organism. So that's the way they reproduce. So if you had a head of a pin, so you can imagine that, I've got a pin, a tiny pin, and just the head of it, there'd be billions of viruses on that pinhead. To give you an idea, they're incredibly tiny. So one virus that, just as an example, my parents were worried about this when I was a little kid, when I was like 4 or 5. They didn't want me to go out and play in the dirt because at the time we didn't know exactly what was causing the disease called polio, which in the worst cases killed the lungs, and people couldn't breathe on their own and had to be in these big iron lungs that were kind of the first respirators that breathed for them. Maybe some of you have seen those before. But anyway, the big virus in the news these days, of course, is coronavirus. Why is it named that? Corona, or why is it called COVID? The co part comes for corona, and I think I'll be showing you a photo right now. The corona is that kind of rough area around the sun, gases around the sun and the sun's atmosphere. That's called the corona, and viruses under magnification look like that. They're kind of corona shaped, I'll say, on the outside. So COVID, corona, and vid, virus that causes a disease, disease. So there it is. And the coronavirus is similar to the flu, but different in some other ways too. The flu is a virus, and there's a different kind of flu every year. I'll have to get my flu shot here coming up, my influenza shot in mid-September. And the flu and the coronavirus, similar in that they're a virus, but here's the deal with influenza. There are vaccines for it that if they don't totally prevent us from getting the flu, can at least give us a better chance of not getting that particular kind of flu. Colds are caused by virus too. So it just popped in my head. So now back to coronavirus, the coronavirus. The coronavirus is a bit more dangerous for several reasons. One of the reasons is we don't have a vaccine for it now, as you know. Now, when you get a vaccine, you get a little bit of either the dead or weakened virus, and it causes your immune system to fire up and make antibodies which recognize that virus only and will kill it. So, and you take it before you're attacked by the virus, and then your immune system will recognize the virus if it's attacked by it and kill it because it's got antibodies that recognize that particular kind of virus. So no vaccine for coronavirus, and there's a lot of unknowns about it. There's a lot of things we do not know about it. So, and that makes it dangerous, and because you've got those dividers at the table you're sitting at, and you're wearing masks, all of those preventative measures are due to the fact we don't have a vaccine and we don't know everything about the virus. And like influenza, this particular virus can be especially dangerous for older people. So 65 and older, so 75 and older. Hello, I'm in that category. That's why I'm here teaching you from here. So, and then, so what happens when you get to be 65 or 70 or 75? Well, your immune system isn't quite as efficient. Now, I think mine is pretty solid. And I'm taking a number of supplements that we think strengthen your immune system. So I'm doing that, and you probably are, and your parents probably are as well. But anyway, I have some other things going that I don't want to take a chance on. I had a heart attack, so I'm not worried about telling you that. I had a heart attack in 2014, and the virus, coronavirus, is not kind to people that have heart disease. So I didn't have any heart damage to speak of, but obviously there's potential for additional heart issues, so I don't want to take a chance. And then I get breathing issues. I get not a very bad kind of asthma, but a little bit of asthma, and I sometimes then get a respiratory infection, which can turn into near pneumonia, or maybe once has turned into pneumonia. well, it wouldn't be good to have that kind of a respiratory system and get COVID. So anyway, those are some of the things about it. Now, the good news for you, the coronavirus, if you get nailed with it, you're probably going to have mild symptoms. You're almost certainly not going to get super sick. But the issue is, could you pass it on to other people? Yeah. And the virus is quite contagious, like the flu is. There have been flu pandemics in the past. The most notable was in 1918. And this is a pandemic right now. Pan means all, so a disease that's spreading around the world, around the whole world. And that was the case with the flu in 2018. So anyway, we don't want it to continue to spread quickly and endanger especially those people who have, who first of all been on the planet a long time and then have underlying health conditions that could exacerbate the situation and make it worse and cause them to get really bad symptoms and maybe go to heaven. So anyway, a little bit of data about bacteria and viruses, and particularly the coronavirus. A couple of last things. It started in a laboratory in Wuhan, China. We're not exactly totally sure about all of that, but it probably didn't come from animal contact and then to human. It was probably developed in the laboratory. Who knows exactly, but there's some evidence for that. Developed in that lab in Wuhan, China, and somehow got out and then began to spread rapidly in Wuhan. And it was right around the New Year. So a lot of people around the Chinese New Year were headed all over the world to visit their families that were in other countries, and that's how it was spread rapidly around the world. So anyway, you might, if you have other questions about it, ask Mr. Gilbert. He could write them down and pass them on to me about coronavirus, and I'll get you an answer and report it to all of you. Okay, got to get rolling here. SSR is due tomorrow. Now, Mr. Gilbert is going to pass out this paper to you. If I have it, where did it go? So, do I have it down here? Anyway, it's the paper that shows you. I do. It's this paper right here. It's like a torso, a blank torso, and on this side and on this side, there are organs. And here's what I want you to do. Draw and label the organs in their proper place that you think they go. Now, do your best on this. It's just, there's no wrong or right, because you haven't been taught this. You don't know this, and you may not be artistic like me. So draw what you think the organs look like in the right place, the right size, and hooked up with the right other organs. So correct hookups. So you've got the brain, the esophagus. Now, I try really hard not to put the brain down here in the torso. I'm just saying, little hint. You know, I said, yeah. So stomach, esophagus, liver, small intestines, large intestines. On the backside, do it as well, do both sides. Trachea on the backside, lungs, and heart. So homework, most of you are done with your SSRs. You're going to get a little bit of time in class, I think, now to work on this. So see if you can maybe get this side done, the trachea, lungs, heart side. Give it a shot. And it'll be kind of fun to talk about that. And it'll be fun to get your drawings. Do your best. Okay? Please don't slough it off. Do your best. Try to be as neat as you can. Label the organs. Label them. Once you draw them, write the name in them that you think that one is. And then it's an assignment. You're going to get points for it for doing your best. How many? At least 10. I haven't decided if it'll be more. Anyway, I'll look forward to seeing you on Downhill Day. And good news, we've already got 2 days of this week done. And next week, you know about next week, 4-day week. Next week, we're off on Monday. It's Labor Day. next Monday. So woohoo, something to look forward to. All right, so love you. Take care. Praying for you. So blessings on you. See you tomorrow.